What's up, everyone, and welcome to another Collective Community Podcast. My name is Josh Andrus. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction here at Sound Collective, and I'm super excited again to bring you another Collective faculty member here, We have Shareef, aka As Technique. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Thank you for stopping by, man.
Good. How's everything?
Oh, man, I've known Shareef for a long time. Shareef and I go way back to the Dope Spot days, man.
Oh, man.
I remember we used to teach back to back. I was teaching the music theory in one room, and you were right behind me on the other room teaching Logic, man. So it's come full circle, man. I'm really happy to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you. So for those of you
in person.
Yeah, I know, right? Which is nice. It's definitely a nice change, man.
Right.
We'll talk a little bit about that because
True.
I know you've been active, man.
Yeah.
The pandemic really hasn't kept you down. Yeah, you've been really active. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. But first, though, for those who aren't familiar with As Technique and your career, why don't we give them a little rundown? Who is Shareef? Who's As Technique?
Okay. Well, I'm a music producer, composer, mix engineer, and mastering. Kind of like multiple hats, I came up in a game where there were no great schools like Sound Collective. There weren't. The schools were, hey, you get in, you either sink or swim.
Sure, yeah.
Which was great on one end because that experience, I bring that in the teaching aspect now, of being in the real world. But coming up in those days, you had to kind of like get in where you fit in or you were kicked out. You had to move fast. And so as a producer, worked on remixes from different people like Missy Elliott, Native Tongue Squad, got to shout out all those guys, Yasin, Salam's brother, all of those cats, De La. Man, those were some great days.
Quite the storied career. Man.
Yeah, and then, moving up as the technology changed, things changed. Studios started to disappear.
Yeah, sure. It became smaller.
And you had
small.
to adapt. So, those who I know of in the industry personally, and those who, it's a 6-degree separation. Those who have adapted, man, they've inspired me to continue to go for it. And, hopefully I inspired someone, but I stay adapting.
Well, that's one thing that I've noticed about you just around the school. So to give everybody a little context, Shareef is our lead Logic instructor here at the school, and we're excited to have him on the squad here. So he does Logic private lessons, a lot of in-person instruction, and you're also on our Sound Collective platform for the subscription model, which we'll talk about a little bit because it's not just Logic.
Right.
He's also a man of many other technologies as well. And what you just said specifically, which I love, is you've been adapting with the times. Matter of fact, so much that recently I've seen you even on an iPad, working on music production with an iPad in the space, which is awesome to me because I'm a big proponent of iPad and mobile music production as well.
Right.
I've even gotten a little bit into application development as well for music production. And I do feel, especially with the M1 technology, that's the future.
Absolutely.
So a little bit about that. So let's just go down a little rabbit hole here, per se. So how do you see music technology affecting the creative these days?
Oh my God. Just what you mentioned, the mobile, the whole mobile surgence, just people are moving about. Of course, now people are moving about more now. Think we can continue to move about more.
Sure,
we were all in place for a while. And but prior to that, event that changed everyone's lives, I was talking about mobile a long time ago because I noticed just creatives were on the road all the time, whether you were performing or, just traveling, to get your muse, to get inspired, and to be able to not have to lug a huge rig on your back through the airport. I was one of them.
Yeah.
You tried,
man. I remember the days of DJing, carrying records.
Oh my God.
I've been doing it for, man.
Yeah. And as awesome as vinyl and all that stuff is, and I love all the gear, all the hardware gear, but to be able to access, some high, in music creative tools in a iPad.
Yeah.
With an interface, and you can record a whole band now, So I think moving forward is just going to enable people to just do more.
Sure.
And do more in just locations.
Sure.
Right. And bring that experience to the customer or the fan.
Yeah.
To be able to say, oh wow, hey, I recorded this. Literally, this is real water from wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And that's in a track as opposed to the sound library, which I'm not, crapping on sound libraries, but
Sure.
to have your own, that's just, and have something real live like that.
Or create your own sound
Yeah,
libraries.
create your own sound libraries
That's another
from
hustle
that.
too. People
Exactly.
can take that and record on their own and package it up and put it out for other
Absolutely,
people to
absolutely.
use.
I definitely believe that at some point and I said this, I don't know what iPad version it was ago. I had said this at a workshop. I said the iPad is going to I know Apple's like, no, they want to keep selling MacBooks and but the iPad or tablet for the Android folks, I don't want to. I believe that's going to replace, it already is the M1, right? The processor, the laptop.
Yeah.
And more companies are going to make more peripherals to be able to work directly from that.
Yeah,
And once the big dogs, the Abletons, and come on, Apple, make Logic ready for the iPad already.
I know, right? We all thought it was going to happen last year at
Yeah.
WWDC, and it didn't. But I think it's on the horizon.
Yeah.
One thing that I've just to comment on that quick, I actually met a developer from Ableton. I went to a conference in London actually back in November, and I met a guy from Ableton. He's like, "Hey, Ableton's ready to go. It works with M1. We have it ready to go. The problem is we don't know how to make it work with a touch interface." So I'm wondering if that's maybe part of the reason with Logic, because you get used, you've been doing it for a long time, you understand, you're used to clicking and dragging and moving on the screen and how you do that. And that is one thing I think we're not quite there yet with mobile production. Now I can tell you that I use Beatmaker 3 a ton. I chop samples on there. I love it. I sit and watch TV, chop the samples. You know what I mean? And that's fine because it reminds me of like a machine or an MPC or something like that.
Yeah.
So I can see that being the way we go, and I think you're right. Hopefully, down the line, we'll see some more powerful tools.
Yeah. You really, where a composer can compose with it's powerful enough to host some high-end VSTs, strings, orchestrals type of stuff. That's for the composer, but for the beat maker, whether you make hip hop, lo-fi, trap, EDM, and everything in between, it's powerful enough. I remember when all the standalone guys started making the standalone, like Native Instruments.
Sure, yeah.
My dudes, no problem. Akai, my dudes still, because I started with you guys back in the day. They always had the standalone deal, right?
Shareef's like a free agent. He moves amongst
Yeah.
the companies.
Hey, give me that LeBron deal, and we're good. I need that. You know what I'm saying? But I remember having I think the Air 2, and I had the IMPC Pro 2 just came out or something like that. And I had the and I was like, this is it.
Yeah, it's an MPC.
It's MPC, like without the weight of whatever MPC they had that was standalone at the time.
Sure.
And I was like, I sold some tracks with that.
Yeah.
The buyer didn't know. They thought I was in the studio. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yep.
And I did my thing. And so that was, that was what, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think I said this on another podcast, because I'm always talking about the iPad and how great it is. And this is why I'm excited to talk to you about it, because I know you use it. Freddie Gibbs bandana, I think Madlib said he did a lot of the beats with the iPad. And just think about that. Essentially, you can go to a record store and just sit there with the records if you really wanted to. Really check them out, see if it even works before you purchase them or whatever. It's just so versatile, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And a battery power.
Yeah.
Which is even crazier.
Which is even crazier,
tethered to the wall.
Right.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I always say, man, if I had some of these tools when I was getting into it, because I started with the MPC 2000 XL, man.
Forget about it. About it. And I always say that. I was like, if I had, and I don't want to be the old head.
Me too.
As the young people, the old head who's like, back in the day, we used to,
that's me,
just have sticks and spoons.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And we made a whole song, an album. But to be able to have the technology is amazing, know, and obviously still having the skill set of learning to play and music theory and having those things. I don't care if you do the Kanye on the the Grammys, ding, 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 the one finger deal. Be able to just still play and have the skill set from analog.
Sure.
That's just priceless to working with the new technology because that's still, when the quantizing doesn't work, your timing has to be. You gotta have that timing.
Sure.
And God bless.
Understand the structure and everything.
Exactly. God bless Dilla. We just passed Dilla month.
Yep.
But just think. Somebody asked me, what would Dilla have done with his hands on all this technology? Man. The world, I don't know.
You'd be crazy. It's crazy. It's because everything's at your fingertips, like
you're
saying.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, man, I know you kind of just touched on it. One thing that's really important, and I know as an educator, I've seen you talk about this, and one thing I love about you is your mindset towards music and how these things are tools for creative expression,
Right.
right? So it doesn't, like you're saying, the iPad is just a tool, right? If you have a
Exactly.
broad understanding, whether it's through analog gear or music theory, it doesn't matter if you're on an iPad or you're on an actual MPC or whatever. Creating music your way is the most important thing.
Right.
I think those tools make it easy for self-expression,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And affordable too,
At
because if you think about it, an M1 iPad is cheaper than buying an M1 laptop,
top.
really.
Absolutely.
You
Right.
know?
Right. And now that you can, buy memory,
Yeah,
flash
expansion.
memory, expansion memory for, little, I'm not saying little to nothing, but compared to what it used to cost 5 years ago, whatever it was, you can buy and fast,
Mhm.
SSD or whatever. You can buy something really fast and you're good to go.
Right. Yeah. So you
So
can essentially get the entry level one and then expand the memory and stuff like
expanded
that.
memory. Yeah,
Great. It's
absolutely.
so awesome. One thing I also want to talk about with you is outside of the music, outside of the well, I should say, traditional beat making
Mhm.
and beat shopping. You also are a person who understands the future of music and the importance of video,
Right.
right? And one thing that I remember from your classes from the early days is you specifically talking about how Logic is not just a tool for music, but also for video as well,
Right.
and composition, and even through film and TV,
Right.
which we're going to talk about that because
Yeah.
you're a specialist in that too.
Right.
This man's just so talented. I don't
Oh,
even know where to go with this
thank you.
interview, man. So one thing, just real quick, why don't we touch a little bit about on that? What do you see? How do you see video becoming such an important element of music? Especially with social media
Oh,
or film and TV.
Film and video as well as audiobooks.
I didn't even think about that. It's
Oh
also
my
good. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So the music, and I've told people, back in the day
Mhm.
from those classes, and even now, and even more so now, for different things, you know, look at where people don't buy CDs anymore, right?
No. Yeah.
No. And so unless you're like the elite, whoever they are, the Beyoncés
Top
of the
one
world, the
percenters. Yeah.
Taylor Swifts of the world, and all those
Sure.
cats, Drakes, and all those folks, you're not really making money off, you buy a subscription, everybody buys a subscription to whatever streaming service, and you have everything, right?
Right.
So no one's buying music. Of course, people getting out to go tour again, and that's great for all us creatives who can perform live, but not everybody's into performing live too.
Sure. Yeah.
So licensing the music to film, games, TV, podcasts, so many people are creating content now because of technology. There's how it goes, right? So
Sure.
your phones and stuff are like 4K, 5K, whatever. People are filming all kinds of stuff from a phone.
Yeah.
And it's looking amazing, right?
Right.
And so music needs to be there.
Yeah.
Whether music, sound design, sound needs to be outside of the dialogue, right?
Sure,
So they
sure.
need that to help tell the story. And I've told producers, students, fellow producers, to write your music, your song, your rap song, your R&B, whatever it is, from a place that can
visuals.
visual place where it tells a
100%.
story.
That's a gem.
That's it. I got to say this because I've been over the pandemic, just been reading a ton of books and listening to audio books, which is
man.
great. I've always read, but I've read more than
Sure.
ever.
Hey, man, education is power, man.
Absolutely. Bruce Lee, Be Water, my friend, by his daughter Shannon Lee. One of the things Bruce says is to express yourself 100%, an artist of life, to express yourself 100%, right? And do it from an emotional place, emotional content, right?
I love it.
And that's like I'm doing this production series called Emotional Content. I'm not labeling anything. It's just what I'm feeling.
That's awesome.
And without how sometimes you make a track and you're like, oh, this is gonna be this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm
You try
like
to mold
letting
it
the
into something.
emotion happen and let that dictate
That's
the
awesome.
musical, so it was all derived from Bruce, and it was like emotional content. And so when you're writing your music, when you come from that place, it will present itself for film. It will automatically fit in a video game. It will fit. Well, I
Right.
mean, of course, whoever the producers
Music
are,
supervisor
and
and
all the music
everything.
supervisors got to
Sure.
pick it, but it'll be compelling. I don't care if it's a dance track,
Right.
if
right.
it's a
There'll be something.
it'd be something.
You're giving them a quality body of work to choose from.
Exactly, as opposed to just doing everything. If you think about it, you think about like a lot of the period pieces of films or whatever that are going like back in the 80s or 90s, whether it's like hip hop or they're trying to go, you know,
Dance
they do the
music,
backstory.
yeah.
They need music for those, that time.
Sure.
Right? In that time, those times were all emotional.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
me and my songwriter partner, we had to do something for the Studio 54 scene back in the day.
Yeah.
Studio 54, and they were doing this documentary Studio 54. And of course, they're
That's
like,
cool.
we can't sample, you know, because they didn't have the big budget for that. But it was like,
Sure.
it needs to sound like that time.
Yeah.
And we killed it. We got 2 songs placed in it.
And that's awesome.
And
man.
it was awesome. But it was like to really compose and to capture that feeling of that time. And I'm like, wow, this is, you know, as a kid, I'm watching my you know, uncles run around in the 80s, you know, getting ready to go to Studio 54. And they're like, and I
you're
had
trying
to
to capture that emotion.
Yeah, I had to go
that
back
feeling.
in that time and go, wow, this is what this was about. And like, and it gave me that feeling. So I
Kind of
wrote
like
it like that.
it almost sounds like how an actor would approach a movie.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
You're putting yourself in that mind frame for that
Absolutely.
particular time.
And for all of you guys, licensing and getting your music placed in film, TV, video games is it.
Yes.
It's where you make money.
Big bucks.
Big bucks. I mean, it's of course it's competitive,
Sure.
you know, because everyone has access to making music. But when you're coming from that real place and really allow it to, you'll get it. You'll get some things. Trust me.
So, well, it doesn't just stop there for you, man, because recently you partnered with Disney in Disney Plus, right?
Yes.
For their shorts.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why don't we talk about that a little bit? Because that's amazing. I remember I was so happy for you, man.
Oh man,
because
thank you,
that's,
thank you.
That's phenomenal.
Oh,
That's so
awesome,
good.
awesome.
And I think that's another thing to touch on too, real quick before you start. You know, talking about licensing, all these different movie and apps are popping up, right? So like you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Apple TV, you have all these different competitors that are popping up. So there's more opportunities for more submissions too.
Right.
And in addition to just like we do here at the Sound Collective, we're constantly looking for content, right? And so Disney Plus approached you, right? Or is that how it?
Oh, well, actually, how it was funny, it was a fellow student, from years ago.
Oh, look at that.
And the one thing I want to say, with all the technology, all the social media, you know, the tech, nothing still beats the human.
Oh,
contact.
no. Yeah.
You know, like you said, we've known each other for years, you know, and we became friends and we're working together again at, you know, in this new location and everything, and with the new school and everything. That's huge to be able to say, hey, that person, that male or female, is cool.
Yeah.
And their work ethic is great.
100%.
And you never know. And I mean, that's just coming from back in old days where, you know, how they say schmoozed, or you went out and networked.
Sure.
Networking in real life is still awesome.
Yeah.
And so what wound up happening was a student, he's my friend now. We became friends. Nathan, got to shout him out. Shapiro, that's my guy. The short of it is, he had called me up. He needed help editing for something back in September or something like that. And he needed some help and some, you know, my ears and eyes on it. He was like, hey, Shareef, you know, so I helped him edit this piece, gave him some tips and everything. And he was like, thank you so much. And in that assistance, he wound up getting offered a gig. And he was like, I don't know how to do this. He hit me middle of the night, and he's in LA. And he's like, dude, I don't know where this is going, but I just got offered this thing. It's from this production company out. They're supposed to be doing something for Disney. He's like, if you can't help me, I'm totally trashing it. He's like, it's not paying much right now, but so we worked it out. I was like, cool. And it was like 10 pieces. So we wound up working out. He did 5, I did 5. We helped, and it was great. And they loved it. And, you know, he was like, dude, I couldn't have done this without you. And I'm like, well, thank you for including me, because I could have just helped them, and you know, that was that. He's like, no, dude, you need to do this. It almost was gonna happen to where he's like, yo, if I can't do this, you gotta do all of it. And then we were about, I was like, no, we're doing this together. We both were like, and we both just knocked it out, and it was amazing. And then they finally said, we thought it was just gonna be like, just to like demo the actors in it and so forth. And they were like, no, this is great. We're gonna use these. We're gonna put this. So it was awesome. So in that work, from some scoring, a little bit of scoring, because they had some other composers, but mixing and sound design, doing the sound design and mixing for those shorts. And having that other skill set as a composer or a producer, knowing your DAW is important.
100%.
100%.
And I think you touched on something that's really important as well, because one thing I like about you is you're an all-around musician, right? So not only do you understand the technology side of it, but you also understand the production
Right.
from which you already touched on, emotional standpoint, right?
Right.
So you have to be able to capture an emotion when you send those things off. And you already touched on this earlier when you were saying playing from the heart, essentially, and really
Right.
capturing the emotion. But there's certain key signatures, there's certain
Yes.
chord structures, and different things like that you can do. And understanding those will make the job faster, because like you just touched on, which I have personally been in this situation before as well,
Right.
the TV doesn't wait.
Nope.
They're like, you got to have this. You might find out the night before, and they're like, we need it in 2 days.
Yes.
We need 10 songs.
Yes.
And you're like, what? Oh, mixed, mastered, created, everything. And so, like you said,
Absolutely.
I think that's important. And one other thing I really like what you said that's really important for all the people out there who are just getting into it: collaboration.
Yes.
Right? Community and collaboration. That's one thing that we're also in the process of building here at the Sound Collective. Where this, we've been building a community through a Discord that students have access to be able to collaborate with each other and share opportunities. I kind of look at it as an alternative to like a music union, essentially, right? So we all need to build off of each other.
Yes, and I think that's the one thing that went away. And this is pre, pandemic or what have you. The computer, right, gave us so much power, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But what wound up happening is people got locked into being at their kitchen table, their desk, wherever their studio was, right, with the headphones and the light and the computer, even in like coffee shops, Starbucks, and it's just them. And it's and okay.
Yeah.
But I come from where you were in the studio and somebody else would come in and it's like, yo, what's that in the jam session? And that's the live thing. And even in hip hop, when we didn't have a full band, not everybody was the Roots or Stetsasonic. I have to mention Stetsa because they were the band before the Roots.
That was a nice plug.
Quest, and I love Quest because he gives props all the time. Anyway, but before that, you had people where you would be in there, someone who's DJing, come in and hear a beat and scratch on it. Some other DJ would come in, the rapper or whoever, you had these collaborations, the beatbox, and all that always happened. So I love the community stuff that Sound Collective is building because we need that. And just inspiration from, one another. I mean, I know there's always competitiveness, but if it's gonna make you make better tracks,
sure.
And push you to say, you know what, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna learn my Studio One or my Logic or my Ableton or my MPC or machine, whatever it is you're working on.
Sure.
I'm gonna learn it better because that guy or that girl was in there, they were killing it.
Well, nice thing about Sound Collective in particular, and thanks to teachers like yourself, we have a very diverse staff when it comes to instruments and technology and everything. So, for example, you may not be a drummer but need a drummer. And guess what? There's somebody there that can do it because the school has such a broad alumni of different talented backgrounds.
Right.
And I think you touched on it. In the same token, you may not be able to play those instruments, but having an understanding of them is important. Especially when writing music.
Absolutely, and when you are using, because all of these software they have the capability to make things sound like, hey, a human played it. Obviously, you need to understand, like you said, understand how that instrument works, understand some theory, rhythm, and then you can be able to program. Because I see so many, producers now. They're the videos, and I'm not disrespecting you guys, but it's the funniest stuff. They got the laptop. They're in an awesome studio.
Yeah.
I'm a gear, I don't want to say the word, but I'm one of those gear people. I come from that.
Yeah.
They're sitting on like a $500,000 board, all the stuff rack, and they're on a laptop.
Yeah. We always laugh because
with the aux jack.
Yeah, well, we laugh all the time because we have an AWS 948 Delta here at the school. It's an SSL console. It's a very nice console in our studio. And
it's awesome.
We've had many sessions before where we walk in and it's a laptop sitting on the top of the board, and plugged into
stereo.
The aux and I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not gonna lie. I've done a few sessions where I've played some music in there, and man, I think it's as the computer and technology becomes stronger, understanding that is it's almost like the steroids, right?
Yeah.
You basically can take something and take it to the next level, and it's almost a performance enhancement in the sense of I can take my bass, maybe slow it down to 40 BPM, play the line, and then speed it up to 60, 70 BPM or
Right.
whatever I want to do. You know what I mean? And essentially it sounds, I did that.
That.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
technology's there.
Totally.
You know, it was just, I was in the studio on Friday night, man, and I was playing this awesome ballad I wrote on the piano, and I messed up this one part, and it was 3 minutes into the song, one key
Right.
on a 3-minute song. Back in the day, you would have had to redo the whole thing.
Yep.
Now I can just go in and just put a little Melodyne on there. You know what I'm saying? Boop, boop, done. You know?
Done, and you're like, whew,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly,
on to the
right?
next song.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's the awesome part with the technology and where we're at with it in the creative space, you know, and music creative as well. That's awesome. But there's still, and I'm not taking away, because you got to use the technology. Some might say in classes and workshops, use the technology, but don't let it use you.
It's great.
Hey, if it all shuts down, which it has, Instagram has shut down, you guys. People have lost their minds. Spotify.
Recently.
People have lost their minds.
Yeah.
Listen, I still got remember those big booklets where you would have the CDs and you would collect your
Yeah.
I have 4 or 5 of them
Yeah.
that 500 CDs.
Yeah.
Still have cassettes,
Yeah.
vinyl.
Sure.
Because I'm on my I Am Legend. Once all this goes down, I'm still gonna be like Will Smith with a VHS tape. Yeah, zombies, you go ahead. I'm chilling. But you know, still having access to you know, the things prior to the technology just helps you make it better, you know. And use it, man. Like, come on, I'm all for like, hey, quantize, click it. If you're not good with your timing, click it.
Yeah.
Don't make things harder for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
One of the other arts that I do, some people know, some people don't, is martial arts. And that I'm a student for life, but I teach it as well. And one of the things that was taught to me years ago was we would, you know, let the weapon, whatever the weapon, let it do the work for you.
Sure.
Right? And I learned the hard way. Let me say that. I learned the hard way. I was on, okay, all right, I got it. And but when I say that is, let the technology work for you. Use it, please. Use it.
Nothing wrong
Just
with that.
make good. What it can't replace is the music from your heart, your creativity. That's you. Don't let it create for you, but let it help you create.
Yeah, you enhance it.
You
know?
enhance your stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Make some awesome stuff, man.
Sure.
You know, and I'm saying again, make that from that emotional content so you can get placements.
I love it, man. I love it. That's a gem, man. That's good
Awesome,
good advice. Good advice. So to wrap up here, man, why don't we give the people a little bit? What are you working on right now?
Well, right now, actually, I'm working with an artist, this Australian artist, and tomorrow, hopefully, did songs with her, and she has a meeting with Netflix, like the top dogs.
Man, this guy is.
So hopefully she gets this stuff going, and awesome. But she's connected, and I'm working with her, and we were doing like remote stuff. So it was, technology. We was able to work remotely.
Sure.
And she has a great meeting happening with that. Also, there's 2 films. Actually, there's a film that's coming out in Prime. I think it's Amazon Prime or something, called. Can I say? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's called Bitch Ass. That's just the name. It's a horror film. Independent. I mixed and mastered those, that project. So that's coming out. And there's another film that's actually in Sundance. It's called Black Woman Speaks.
Ooh, okay.
Awesome short.
Nice.
And I worked on that.
Man,
so that's been doing a lot of that stuff.
The film and TV stuff.
Yeah,
right
man.
now,
I'm like, looking for it. But then, I'm making tracks every day because I'm like, I gotta be ready.
Yeah,
when they
sure.
call, that's the thing. Continue to be creative because you never know when one of your pieces you can use it for something. So those are the things that I'm working on of current. And mixing people's stuff. People are calling me to mix and master their stuff. So I'm like, yeah,
a man of many talents.
So
do it all. Teaching, licensing, mixing and mastering, beats, production. You heard it here, man.
Yeah.
So tell the people, where can they find some of your stuff at?
You can find some stuff on SoundCloud.
Under As Technique, right?
Under As Technique and Hip Soul Entertainment Inc. Hip Soul, ENT.
Cool.
You'll find on SoundCloud, YouTube, and the Beat Bang Theory. Beat Bang Theory. This is the shirt.
Like it.
Right?
Beautiful.
Beat Bang Theory on IG. I got my other IG hacked. I'm so upset. So you'll find all of that there
Other
on
modern
social
world
media.
problem.
Yeah, and as on TikTok as well. Beat Bang Theory on TikTok.
Nice, nice. Well, shout out, thank you for coming in, man.
Thank you,
We're
man.
very appreciative to talk to you. I mean, like I said, very talented. I know you for a long time. You're an amazing instructor.
Thank you.
Shareef
Appreciate
has
you.
multiple courses on our Sound Collective subscription platform, which right now you can join for $24.99 a month with 2 weeks for free, and it lets you learn on the go. We have our sunrise sessions, which are morning classes that we offer in drumming, music production, and DJing. So those who are on the platform are able to log in and watch those live classes as part of the subscription. And of course, we're in our beautiful location at 28 Broadway down here in Lower Manhattan, where we have a new membership program where people can actually come into the school for 1 monthly fee and use the space to practice and use all these beautiful instruments you see behind the school. We're adding stuff every day to our facility, and you can come and practice and see Shareef because he's here all the time. So thank you for those for tuning in today, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.